What's up, guys? How's everyone doing today? Wave. Hope everyone's doing well. This is a new week. Australians, it's a new week. It's Monday, May 25th, 10:15 a.m. here in Sydney, Australia. Americans, Memorial Day weekend, I think. You guys have a long weekend. It's still Sunday. I don't expect this stream to be too live. Wherever you are in the world, I say welcome. What I'm going to do with this stream is like we do every week. If you're new here, we're going to go over our bets of this past weekend, our winners, our losers. We're going to talk a little bit about it. We're going to talk about strategy, and then we're going to take a look ahead because there are a lot of fights this coming weekend, both in the octagon and in the ring. We didn't have any UFC action this weekend. I know some of the boys in the Discord had action in the PFL. So if you guys are part of the MMA channel, I'd like to know how you guys did. I'll take a look into the Discord as we start to heat up into this chat. Pinned here on the screen is a link to join our Johnny Says Boxing VIP Discord. We launched this Discord in August. It's only a couple bucks a month. You become part of our growing professional betting community. We're over 500 VIPs. You could join on YouTube to become a JSB Insider or join on Patreon. Whichever one you choose, you get access to the Discord. It's a growing community. It's not just boxing, MMA, the NBA playoffs are on, all pro sports. And there's sharps in all of these channels. Shout out to all the insiders. I appreciate you guys. A rough weekend, man. I got my biggest May has been the most inconsistent month for me of 2026. And by no means am I complaining. By no means. I'm just being real. I think from my perspective, a guy who goes live every single day, who puts a lot of time, energy, and effort into breaking these fights down. You guys know that I not only do this, I coach boxing, I box, I'm a teacher. This is my passion, right? I think it's really important from a guy like me to be transparent and accountable on all this stuff. So these streams sometimes the day after are tough because if luck would have gone one way or the other, our results would have been a bit different, but they weren't. On the money line, I'm going to talk about the losses. I was watching, I know a lot of you guys in our Discord, and this is for everybody who's not in the Discord. As we grow, my understanding of what that actually is changes. The biggest benefit, this has nothing to do with me, other than becoming part of our community and being able to pick the brains of our very educated community, is we stream fights in there. That's crazy to me. And I brought this up on one of my live streams, and I'll never use it to, but like, shout out to Kyle, shout out to Mayweather, shout out to Doovie Kid, and there's a few others. Come fight weekend, whether there's Japanese fights on a Thursday, or bare knuckle fights, or UFC main events, or Ring Magazine events, they're streaming those fights. And so I've saved thousands of dollars, thousands, which is crazy. And I'm always a guy to pay for these events. I just didn't know that running a Discord, we'd be able to find a little bit of a loophole. So that in itself, man, the $6-7 a month is nothing. You pay, what is it, $6 a month? If it's $7 a month, it's $83 a year. That's basically one pay-per-view. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, if you're on the fence about joining our community, that in itself, to me at least, I find value in my own community from the guys I just gave a shout out to. You guys have saved me thousands of dollars. So the least I could do is get this train back on track. Last weekend was a great weekend. The weekend before last was like this one. It was like 2 out of 6, 2 out of 7. Our long parlay is still live. We started that in April with Usyk winning and Shiraz winning. That pays plus 590. The last fight on that, we need Stephanie Hahn this weekend. We need Shock. And then we need Abdullah Mason in July, and then that hits. I'm going to put together another quarterly parlay this week. I'll give everybody that'll start June, July, and August. I've already given the JSB Insiders 2 tickets. So this coming week, it's still Sunday for you Americans. This coming week, I already have you 2 tickets. And so check the Patreon, check the members only section. Those are up and more to come. There's UFC fights. I already like my dog of the week. I didn't give you guys the dog of the week last week because I didn't see one. Shout out to Barry Unboxing. He's one of our JSB Insiders. He's a sharp in our group. He called the Frank Sanchez versus Kiki Torres fight perfectly. And on that fight, I missed that fight. I took Kiki. I thought, look, in this we're an international community. I think Barium is from New York, and you know it. Maybe I was a victim of believing in. I sometimes believe in fighters a bit too much, and I'm not ever one to throw away a guy either. I think Kiki Torres, maybe you know, he was with Bomac, just a strategy change. You know, when you're going against a really big guy and you're an undersized heavyweight at that, people have even been asking Kiki to drop down to cruiser. He's not that big, but his style is so brave, and he just rushes in. Um, it just makes you question the game plan, makes you question the fight IQ, makes you question the fight camp. And you know, I'm not. He got knocked down the second, looped into an uppercut. You know, orthodox versus southpaw style. He's fighting Unk, you know, Frank Sanchez, and and Kiki just has this really bad read. He has this really bad tail of doing this. He when you're a Southie versus an Orthodox and you're facing a power puncher and your one bad read, he has a couple bad reads. One of your major bad tells is slipping into the uppercut. I'm not going to say I saw it coming. Hindsight's always 2020. I thought Kiki was going to look great. I feel bad for him. You know what I mean? I put a lot of, you know, you're not human if you don't feel bad for these guys. That's why I don't call fighters trash or bums. I feel great for Sanchez. Just as my bet failed, I feel great for Sanchez. Great win. He reintroduced himself to the heavyweight landscape, but boy, I want to see some piss tests. I want to see a pee test, boy. Frank Sanchez looked saucy. And that's not an excuse. But Frank Sanchez looked saucy. Johnny, why you hating? I hate you. Can't you just give him some love? Why you hating? You always cause he knocked your boy? No, I mean he just looked good for a guy that old. I mean he's only 33. He looked fucking saucy, boy. I want to see a piss test, boy. Anyway, what else? So that was a knockout prop. Amari on points totally demolished the German Galtieri. That failed. You guys were torching me about, and I'm fine with it. If you're gonna torch me, torch me. I got my college coach used to say I got big shoulders. I can handle it. But there's a way to go about it, right? One of the things I take pride in every week to give to my community are plus money bets. That is me risking a lot. I lost a lot of money this weekend, which is fine. We play the game. I have a long-term mindset. From 2026 January 1, I'm up a lot. And I know 1 week isn't going to crush me, but I did lose a lot. And a lot of you guys, you know, not many, a lot of you guys saw, you know, weren't so pissed about the Sanchez knockout. I think a lot of us were kind of happy for that. But the props, I need to make something very clear here. If you come to my channel, you're going to get plus money tickets. I'm not going to waste my time and break down a fight that's $1.08 and give you guys a three-legger that's $1.40 and you have a 40% return. That's not, I don't enjoy doing that. That's just not what I do. That's not how I operate. It's not how my DNA works. I'm a competitor. So when we get fights and matchups like May Solomon versus Mimi, and we know Mimi's not a puncher, and we know the pick is Mimi on the money line or on points, but that's only giving us $1.28. Every now and then we're gonna play the knockout. It's gambling for a reason. So I understand. How did you? That's crazy. You picked Mimi by knockout. She only has 2 knockouts. No shit, mate. It's gambling, dude. This is part of the game. This is part of the process. And at least I gave you logical explanation for it. You know, I shout out to May. May was a lot tougher than I thought she was going to be. She was, you know, wasn't in the fight. She got beat pillar to post. She landed 3 good backhands. But it's the risk you got to take. Same thing with Amari Jones. You know, he's going against his first world champion, former world champion, Galtieri, who had only been stopped against Janabek Elmhanalai, and Amari just ran through him. So it's like in these prop bets, you got to understand the reasoning. Logic is a part of it, but then risk. That's the secret to winning consistently, is how to mitigate logic and risk. And so that's where I'm going to get better. I said all that to say I'm going to get better. Jack Catterall won us money, so it wasn't all a loss. Jack Catterall, and this was a point of contention. So as I give flowers to Barium, because we this is why I love our chat, because every couple months there's a new sharp in there, and then we kind of go head to head, and and then hopefully Barium doesn't disappear. Like since August, we've had a couple of the boys just disappear for whatever reason. We disagreed on 2 fights. He picked Sanchez, I picked Torres, but he picked Giasov and I picked Jack. So in that process, I was spot on, and we won money. Jack on points, and this is another one. Jack on points was only $1.68. I can't just give you that ticket, because I give you that ticket and it hits. Anyone can pick that. Why are you even posting this? Anyone, you know what I'm saying? The haters. So we parlayed Jack on points with Shiraz by knockout. And so that was our winning ticket, which we hit on. If we had a couple things go a couple different ways, I watched the Bakary Samaki fight, man. I had Samaki 8-4-7-5. What I didn't know is that I thought, and this is crazy, it's a Pro Box card. I thought that card was built around Samaki. The commentators were biased. The open scoring was awful. That open scoring policy in Germany, man, I'm not for it. I think that fight card was in Germany. I'm not for it. I don't like open scoring in boxing. It sounds counterintuitive, because sometimes there's an argument for it, but I don't like it where the fighters hear it and then it kind of like, I don't know. It's a longer chat we need to have. I'm kind of torn. I'm like 70-30, 70% I hate open scoring, 30% I see the value. So if Samaki gets the nod like I thought he was going to, 2 more tickets hit. We would have hit 4 out of 7. You know what I mean? So if Samaki gets that nod, which I thought we had him on the money line, he didn't. We would have had 2 more tickets. And then the Usyk fight, which we want to talk about, Usyk versus Verhoeven. I told you guys were asking me all week. I said that fight definitely goes over 3.5. I told you Verhoeven is a living legend. Rico hadn't lost in 10 years. It was kickboxing, not boxing, but this is a big, proud man. You know what I mean? What I wish I would have looked further into, this is why hindsight's 2020. This is a mistake on my end. I did win with Usyk by knockout, but I did lose a ticket Usyk 1-6. I know a lot of you guys, that was the play. It wasn't just me. All the YouTubers were saying 1-6 too. Some were even saying under 3. I somehow I didn't do enough homework. I gotta do. This is my fault. I apologize. How did I freaking not know Peter Fury was training Verhoeven for that fight? I'm not saying it would have changed anything. At least I could have spoken about it. That's a fact that I usually take pride in when I'm doing my film study. But I didn't break down. I didn't do a Stats Don't Lie video because Usyk was $1.07, right? The Stats Don't Lie videos I did were Robin Safar, which we hit, which was a 50-50 fight. Catterall versus Giasov, which we hit. Catterall was a slight fave. And then the Unk versus Kiki, which we didn't hit. Those, when you look at those fights, I'm going to take time to do film study, breakdown, do an edited video, which take a while with odds better than $1.07. So sometimes when I put these fights on my tickets, I do research, but the research isn't as in depth as it would be if I did one of those Stats Don't Lie videos. If I would have done a Stats Don't Lie video on Usyk Verhoeven, I would have known who was coaching Verhoeven. Damn, hindsight's 2020. I'm not saying that would have changed. I would have probably still picked Usyk 1-6, but it's a good talking point because when you see Verhoeven coming out in that split stance, he had a scissor stance. Usually Verhoeven, I know it's kickboxing and you have to go shoulder, you have to go square shoulder because you have to check, you have to check things here and check kicks here, and you're catching things differently and the space is different. I wasn't expecting Verhoeven to go from a bladed guard with that thing. But then when you look at all of Peter Fury's athletes, a lot of them fight like that. Savannah Marshall. It looked like the Savannah Marshall style. That thing. And I'm not saying it would have changed. I probably would have still did 1-6 Usyk by knockout. But I wish I failed not knowing Peter Fury did that camp. You know what I'm saying? Because he had him ready. And Usyk looked old. And that's 15 minutes of the betting. 15 minutes of the betting. We got 45 of you guys in here. Like the video. Now we can. I'm going to leave it open for you guys. That's my rundown. Um, I think I covered everything there. If I didn't, I'm sure you guys will bring it up. We have a lot to talk about, though. If we want to talk about Johnny, what's your opinion on the Usyk outcome? Or I already gave you my opinion on the Albanian sniper versus Samake. We talked about Kiki versus Unk. So yeah, I'm gonna say what's up to everybody. Rico shocked me, made it to alive. Rex in the house, Little Showtime, Money Meech in the house. That second long parlay, preach. What's up, King? Johnny, what's up? Not the best weekend, but I'm optimistic. Teddy Alice on that Booger Sugar talking about how he picked Frank Warner to hit him with the Tony Yayo meme. Yeah, a couple of the JSB insiders told me about that. I guess he didn't pick Frank. Look, what I always say is authenticity, transparency, accountability. It's hard for Teddy has an ego. I don't know exactly what you're referring to, but I know Barry Unboxing on one of Teddy's posts called him out too. I guess Teddy picked Kiki, but then he's notorious for like, what are we calling it, lying? Teddy has a huge ego on him, right? You know, a lot of dude. The downfall of man is ego. We have to know how to deal with ego. So if you can't take accountability, if you're, it's I don't know, but I know a couple of our boys were saying the same thing. Catterall, dude, Catterall always looks good, man. Catterall always looks good. I always win money on Jack Catterall. Jack Catterall could easily be 35-0. What was he? 32-2 going into this fight. He could have been 34-0. That split decision loss to Josh, which I thought. I mean, rewatch that fight. I don't even think that's an argument. He wins that fight. He's undisputed. The whole narrative on Jack changes, and then the Arnold Barboza Jr. fight, split decision. I had ABJ winning. I won money on ABJ, but that was still a close fight. He's a dog, man. He's a smart fighter. He does have, there were a couple things there where I thought Giasov could have. There's a couple things, Jack, I don't like how he likes to sit on the ropes, and sometimes he scours away because he's trying to find the perfect counter, and he likes jumping off to a lead, but then he likes kind of like, backing off a bit. Giasov looked a bit gun shy. I think Jack's speed and timing really bothered Giasov, and that early knockdown really changed the trajectory of a potential firefight. I thought Giasov was going to make it way more competitive, but that's the levels, man. That's the levels we talk about. In boxing, it's everything. I got smoked. I feel like Cabello can beat Usyk. Usyk, I mean, I don't think he's going to fight Cabello. Cooked. Yeah, dude, Kiki. It must be his son doing the dumb shit, always trying to take credit no matter the outcome. He's ruined the pod. Rando, Johnny, crazy week above. Crazy, dude. This is what we do. This is how we play the game. Sub Johnny, really impressed with Mizuka Haruta, her range, awareness, angle. She worked right. Yeah, she's great. She's great. Usyk Rizzo didn't show up. Usyk just looked old. I hate he aged overnight. I think it's fair to say, guys, Usyk looked old. And Rico looked a lot better than people thought he was going to look. Rico does not kickbox that way. Charlie Edwards is on upset alert. 6-1 Superfly. Let's have a look. Charlie Edwards, Sonny's brother. I mean, are we talking? There's a lot of great fights, Julius. Are we going to focus on this fight? I mean, Shock versus Savage. You know what I'm saying? Regarding upsets, I think the UFC. I think Sumadarji might beat Alex Perez. So for all the MMA boys, I'm about 80% sure that I'm going to pull the trigger on Sumadarji this weekend to beat Alex Perez. Alex Perez is tough, though. Every time I bet against Alex Perez, he goes out and has a great performance. So I don't know yet. There's a lot of good odds there. And to answer Julius's question, I haven't seen an upset yet. I think we're going to see a handful of upsets on that female card. There's an MVP card. There's a female card. Yacasta Valley is a 3-1 favorite against the champion. I don't know, man. I'm not impressed with Yacasta Valley. And she's a 3-1 favorite right now. I've already been doing my research, as you guys, we're savages around here. So that's the one boxing dog I've had my eyes on. Is it's a world title fight? I think it's Superfly MVP card on the undercard of Stephanie Hahn versus Holly Holm. Valet is a 3-1 favorite. She didn't look great in her last few fights, and she's going up against the current world champion. The champion is 39 years old, but I find a lot of success betting Mexican female fighters as big dogs. I think this is a pattern. What we have a Ukraine pattern. The Ukrainians have let us down, boy. That Ukrainian pattern has emerged over time and time again. You know what I'm saying? Boacek, Vozdik, Baranchik, um, Chukachan, Usyk not fighting well. There's a Ukrainian pattern that's emerging. There's a Uzbekistan pattern that, I mean, might be emerging with Giasov not stepping up in terms of having a storied amateur career, have all this hype, getting a big, massive fight for your step up, and things really not going your way. I like Mexican female fighters with a couple different losses who are in their late 30s, who are 3 to +1 underdogs, and I like them as dogs. We see it. I've hit on 2 of these this year. Shout out to Irma Garcia smashing her a +550, baby. Going off last night, Usyk really going to struggle with Calby. Do you think they fight? What's your height and weight, bro? You training to look? I'm 5 foot. My dad would say I'm 6 feet tall. I'm 5'11". I walk around at 185 pounds. Are you training? You look at. I'm 44 years old. I'm a coach and I live in fight shape. I've been in fight shape for 20 years. So my whole mindset as a coach, as a teacher, as a writer, as a guy who loves boxing, it's my favorite sport. Walked into my first fight gym as a 7-year-old. I turned 44 at the end of April, and my mindset is always I'm in fight shape. When I always have to be ready, no matter what. I run, I power lift, I do mobility, I spar. So in case anything ever happens in my life, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, financial, I always want to be ready. So that's a philosophy I live by. Thank you for noticing. Sanchez was shredded. Whoa. Frank Sanchez, I want to see the piss tests. Let's go. Fresh BX in the house. Fat, his son is a knucklehead. Okay. Jack fought well. Yes, he did. I've been a big fan. Same. Wilder. Hold on. Hold up. Come on, guys. Come on, guys. Just busy. Come on, King. Dubois not. Well, that could be something. That could be something. Benavidez Usyk might be a money play. Guys, I'm not getting Bevo on my books. Are you? Samaki's original fight card was in France. Thought he was winning too. Rico been training with Peter for years. I didn't know that. I guess I'm not up to date on Dutch kickboxing training. See, wish I would have known that. Shout out to Mike from Melbourne. Giasov was spooked after the early knockdown. Continuously walked in the wheelhouse naked. No body punch. No body punch was the big one. No body punch was the big one. Looked like he saw a ghost a bit. Had the damage to his face. You got to think a guy like Giasov, maybe it's a sparring. I don't know. I didn't pick him. Jack did what I thought he was going to do. To Jack's credit, he controlled the distance again, made him fight his fight. Yep. Controlled the range pace, jumped out to a big lead. I made some good money on Jack while the live betting. That's the move. John Maggs in the house. We're here, baby. Our team is up. We're up. JSB Insiders, you guys are the best. Yeah, so I'm slipping. The MMA boys, I've been off of my Dutch kickboxing game for years since Badr Hari. Rico been training with Peter over 10. Dave Allen got a funny spot. There you go. Kiza in the house. Kiza, what do you think of do you think Suma Darji could get it done? Let me know. Usyk was only boosting for live bets. Usyk money line was plus money. Ali Penfold, my book. I told the boys in the Discord, round 9, I was live betting. I tried to, because in Australia we have to call in. So I never have done a live bet in my life because I don't want to talk to a stranger. I already feel guilty about gambling. You want me to talk to a human? I want to put this money in. All right, degenerate. Like, motherfucker. If it was just a button, I would do live betting, but they don't make it easy for us in Australia. I got to talk to a human and give him a passcode. I ain't trying to do all that. But anyway, I was going to live bet for the first time, 9th round, and I was going to put 200 on Rico by knockout, and they didn't let me. They put me on hold. Thank God. My sports bet saved me $200. Eye opening what happened to Kiki when he upped his up. Yeah, man. That's a massive step up, too. That's Jason. I'm glad you brought that up. I'm not saying people were. Is it safe to say people with big names were swerving around Sanchez a couple years ago? I think it's kind of safe to say. There were big name fighters. I'm not going to put anyone on blast. You guys know who didn't want to fight Frank Sanchez. So, like, if anything, if there's a silver lining, and Torres wouldn't want to hear this, and Bomac wouldn't want to hear this, but as you know, guys who are students of the game like us, at least if anything, Torres put his hand up. You know, the dude is game. He's a savage. He looked in shape. The dude's always ready. Sometimes heart isn't enough, man. You know, you're fighting in a division where one punch, like we saw, could turn the lights out, and it's not the first time we saw this happen. Jalalov and the amateurs did the same thing. He was stretchered out, and so it's either like, bro, you can't rewire the style either. There's not that style he has is who he is. It's what makes boxing the best sport in the world. You really get to see the soul of a human when they're fighting. You get to see, especially at the highest level, you get to see their character in a fight. That's just who Kiki is. He's a brave guy who wants to get on the front foot, man. He doesn't have any sort of inhibitions of self-security. But, you know, when you're going against big guys and, you know, you're slipping right into uppercuts, bro, without setting anything up or feinting. And shout out to, you know, you guys aren't going to like what I'm about to say here. Eddie Reynoso, in between round 1 and 2, there's footage of this. Eddie Reynoso doesn't get any credit, but he called that punch out. He told Frank Sanchez that uppercut was there. He was like, look for it. It was the last 15 seconds of the corner work from round 1 going into round 2. And he said it. He was right there. And Frank listened, and he nailed it. Great timing. Mosby, do you think Azim stops Claggett? This is a good fight. It's a good fight. I rate Azim. I'm gonna rewatch Azim's last fight. I gotta remind myself. I know he got a late stoppage, and it was either his last fight or the fight before. We were all Azim by stoppage. There was a bit of fuckery. It might have been one of these UK stoppages. I got to see who he was fighting. I rate Steve Claggett. I thought Steve Claggett fought Teofimo Lopez really well. Steve Claggett is a guy with a handful of losses, been around the game forever. I think he turned pro in 2007. I remember watching Steve Claggett's almost like a 20-year pro. So this guy knows how to move and operate in a ring. And Azim, if anything, he's not, you know, he's just coming up. So before I give you my exact prediction, I need to do a little bit more research. I got respect for both guys. Adam Azim could punch. He's a good prospect coming out of the UK, but Steve Claggett's a real veteran. He knows how to maneuver in a ring. So I don't have a prediction on it yet, but it's coming. You think what you guys think Auntie Holly for the upset, dude? I picked Auntie Holly in the first one, and she was getting her ass beat, dude. I gotta admit, for all you guys on Auntie Holly, remember I said this. Stephanie Hahn is way better than I thought she was. Stephanie Hahn is way better than I gave her credit for. Watch my first breakdown. I didn't think Stephanie Hahn was that good of a boxer. She was way better. And we all of a sudden think, and Stephanie Hahn was beating the dog breaks off Holly. Why is this fight getting remade? Nobody asked for this rematch except Holly. So I think this is a cash out. This is a cash out fight for Team Holmes. She still has a big name, former UFC champion, boxing Hall of Famer. And so I think Stephanie Hahn that stoppage was incoming. And Holly was like, oh, I was going to get her in the late rounds. What are you talking about, dude? You were getting beat pillar to post. Stephanie Hahn really, really impressed me. Really, and I'm not just, you got to do a lot to impress me, man, especially in the boxing ring for me to totally flip. Because I had Holly in the first fight. She had no answers for her. So slow. Her footwork was terrible. She was stiff. Her angles were awful. Stephanie was turning her. I thought Holly was going to have the strength advantage. Even that wasn't working. So, yeah, I don't see that at all. Samake being given a UD was shocking. I don't want to see fight stage. He didn't get a UD. He lost. Being given it. If he would have got a unanimous. Oh, you mean. Yeah, nobody. That was insane. After 8 rounds, all those 3 open scoring judges had him down. That was absolutely insane. Azim Claggett. So you think Claggett gets stopped? I think everyone agrees Jack beat Josh. I bet Barboza over Jack. Me too. I was surprised Barboza took the scorecard. Same. Same. Yeah, we hit ABJ at plus 270, I think. Is Savage live? I think Savage is live this weekend. Whenever you have a young energy, athletics, world-class speed. World-class speed, Ray Ford. For all you Ray Ford bettors, this is what you're betting on. You're betting on the athleticism and speed. I'm not betting on that. I'm taking Shock Foster to outclass him, win more rounds, and win a decision. I always say in boxing, one of the only thing that trumps speed is timing. Woo! Shock Foster, boy. I think it's going to be belt to ass. I think it's going to be a levels. But he is live. Ray Ford is live. It's a close fight. Maybe 60-40, maybe 55-45. He's live. Anything that's like 60-40, in my opinion, maybe even 65-35 is a live fight, in my opinion. Hello, can we make another long? We're gonna do it. We're not gonna do it on this live stream. This is a recap of the weekend. Alphonse, I got your back. You've been asking for that quarterly parlay. We're doing it. We got this weekend. I'll start building it today. We're gonna use it for this weekend's fights and then June, July, and August. And I got you. And listen, boys, what do I always say? The best bets sometimes are the ones we don't make. Last weekend on the live, you guys asked me, Johnny, how come you're not talking about Daniel Lapin? Add him to the Ukraine list. Because I said he was $1.07 against a French guy that I had no idea who he was, and I was never sold on Daniel Lapin. I was like, I'm not betting Daniel Lapin, putting him on a parlay at $1.07, and he goes out and gets knocked out. Lapin getting stopped. How did we miss that? I never trusted that kid. I made a little off the live betting. Because it was easily overlooked. You know what I'm saying? He was fighting a guy who was 9-1, I think. Miguel Flores, Javon Woodard. I think Usyk looked the same as he did against Dubois, but he wasn't landing the counters when Rico was coming up. The thing with me that I felt that Usyk, the biggest difference for me was his optics. Physically, pudgier. We know he had added weight. But his poker face. When is the last time we saw a guy? He looked like he was frustrated. Rico was frustrating him in the mid rounds. The first few rounds, boxing fans, he's giving that round away. He's playing it safe. Verhoeven has power. He's big, but by round 3 and 4, Usyk's not doing what he wants to do. Verhoeven's movement is bothering him. In between rounds, Usyk was looking frustrated, which is new. Those optics were new to me. I've seen him frustrated maybe a handful of times before, but not that early in a fight. And you mix that with what his physical body was looking like and his feet, much more flat-footed. He just looked old, man. We get old, guys. These are all signs of an aging fighter. 39 years old, boys. Old, especially with a mobile guy. He's always relied on like cat-like sort of reflexes. What are the things that go as we get older? You guys know that. Speed first, then reflexes. What's the one thing that stays? Power. Got a late knockout. I've been saying Caballero going to be losing for over a year. People will call me crazy. Okay, yeah. So if Kiza's one of our MMA sharps. The height, the reach, the size. Alex is... I'm kind of gun shy still. I got PTSD from that Charles Johnson loss. Kiki versus Fraser Clark is a good fight for both of them. Or Kelvin Lorena fights this weekend. If he beats Maroney again, 2 undersized southpaw heavyweights. Yeah, Lorena fights this weekend. Dude, I was impressed with Fraser Clark against Justice. I got to be honest with you. That version of Fraser Clark, it's a good fight. He doesn't have the... We'll see what Kiki does. We'll see if he stays at heavy. He's probably going to stay at heavy. Stop Scobie at the end. Yeah, that was the Azim fight. But Scobie came in late too, man. That was a late notice fight. Dwayne Styles in the house. Dwayne Styles, boy. Kingdom. Lapin always been trash. He almost messed me up last time. I don't mess with... Yeah, we don't mess with Lapin. Guys, like the video. Appreciate the boys, JSB Insiders. Dwayne Styles with that overhand. Boom. I've been practicing my, you know, what punch I've been really drilling is my backhand. But I've noticed I've been changing it from keeping it engaged from here at distance to bringing it here and doubling up. So not there, but jab, jab, pop, pop, that one. So jab, jab, pop, pop, that one. Usually I'm jab, jab, pop, pop. So I've been trying to sacrifice defensive acumen for a little bit of speed. I was trying that in sparring on Saturday. I got touched up a bit. There's always something to work on. Kept telling myself Samake is French, though. Picked him on the money line instead of picking the distance. Man, he throws bombs. At 20, there's a lot of upside to Samake, man. I didn't like his. It was almost like when he heard those judges weren't siding with him even after the fourth round. After the fourth round, judges when he was down, the fifth round was probably his best round. He came out on fire. And then he did great work, fifth, sixth, and seventh. And then after they read the cards again after the ninth, he was just deflated. He has a lot of power. He needs to hide his offense. He needs more variance. He needs to use his jab. He needs to use more foot feints. But this all comes down to coaching and preparation. Optically, physically, marketability wise, he ticks all the boxes. I didn't think the sniper did enough to win that fight. He fought a really negative fight. You look at the faces, it looked like Samake wasn't even in a fight. The Albanian snipers, this eye was swollen, this eye was cut. It was crazy. Nello, the face. Woodard on shot card. I'll check it out, Cody. Appreciate the heads up, Cody Paulin, GSB Insider. I'll check it out. Dog, that version. Look, you remember I said about 10 minutes ago, I'm the type of guy, you got to prove it to me when I was talking about Stephanie Hahn. She proved it to me. Stephanie Hahn proved it to me against Holly Holm. In a winning, the fight was controversially ended, but she was winning that fight. I think she's going to handle Holly even more convincingly the second time. Fraser Clark proved, I'm a fan now of Fraser Clark after watching the Justice Huni fight. That version of Fraser Clark, man, if he could get into that, if he could stay in that sort of shape, he's a problem for a lot of people. He was in that fight to the last two rounds where Justice started, maybe three, edging it a bit more with his volume movement, and then Justice started. I really like that late fight adjustment Huni was making in those later rounds where he was backing up into the corner, and then he was making Fraser miss with the hook, and then he would exit out, and he would use that slip away to turn his fighter. And then optically, that looks great. You're making your opponent miss, and now you have Clark in the corner on the ropes, and then he would kind of skit-scat a little bit. But I still think Fraser Clark fought well. That was the best version I had seen of him in a long time. Physicality-wise, he looked great. Psychologically, he looked switched on. He was fighting like a guy who knew he needed to win that fight. Boxing is a really, really tough sport at the highest level, though, and sometimes they don't go your way. I'm glad it didn't go his way. We won a lot of money that fight card on Justice, that whole card we hit. So where does Fraser go from here? Hopefully he gets another big fight. I'm cheering for him. I'm not getting all of these fights yet. I'll pull up the odds in a couple minutes. We'll do the dry run of all of the fights. Johnny, teach us what you use for boxing mechanics. I'm a student of the games. That's a very broad ask. I mean, breaking down. So when I'm teaching a fighter from the ground up, I act as if he knows nothing. Now I'm not teaching fighters to become pros. I'm not teaching fighters to compete at a high level. When a person comes to me and asks me to teach them boxing, the first thing I tell them is, if you want me to teach you to take a fight, I will take you to a gym where I train at. I'm not a handler of a guy who wants to competitively fight. I teach the technique and the foundation elements of how to fight, how to box from the ground up with footwork. So I start with the feet first. I love footwork. If you watch any of my videos, either hitting the bag or shot, I love footwork. So I'm starting with the feet, balance, and then we go from the feet to the hips, and then the 6 basic punches. I have my own little system. Posture matters. Where our posture, where our guard is, chin matters. There's a lot of little techniques you do. But I tell a new client, we could drill the jab for 6 weeks and you'll never come back to me. Boxing is so technical. We could work on your lead hook for 6 weeks and I'll never have clients because they'll never come back to me. So I have to, because I'm teaching people who, have never fought, maybe not even athletes who want to learn the sport from the ground up. I have to make it enjoyable for them as well. So I'm teaching them how to spar me. Their final exam is sparring me over, whatever time it takes them to learn the sport. So, but that's how I coach. Every punch is so technical. We can work on our backhand for months, man. I've been working on my backhand for years. My straight right hand, my two. That straight right, because it looks like a basic punch, but whether you're at range or you're in the pocket, you have to change the angle of it depending on the space and distance. Are you fighting an orthodox? Are you fighting a southpaw? Are you throwing it to counter? Are you throwing it off a combination? Are you level changing with it? Are you foot feinting with it? Dude, the backhand, the backhand's probably my favorite punch to drill. My most frustrating punch is my lead hook. The lead hook is so technical because once again, you have to have all, where's your lat placement at? Where's your chin placement at? Is your trap traveling over your chest here when you're throwing it? Where's your distance at? Have you set the hook up? Where's your front foot? Like, it's so technical. Richard Torres remind me of Jimmy Smith getting knocked down his debut fight. Same. Kiki, man. I feel bad for Kiki, boys. I feel bad for Kiki, dude. It's such a brutal sport. And the meme game, boys. Yo, I got to give a shout out. The meme game in our Discord is brutal. Y'all cats are mean, dude. So we have a new channel in our Discord called Meme Collection. Y'all cats are mean, dude. This is the Kiki Torres meme that went viral in our this is crazy. Y'all wild. Why y'all that's that's so messed up, boy. So because I was getting trolled. So then I had to counter that. I had to counter the Kiki meme because you guys were trolling me with the Giasov meme. So I made this one. So that's the Giasov meme. But shout out to the Discord. We have a new channel, the meme channel. Man, the stoppage was weak. My account. Glad it happened. Insane knockout. What fake ass can be 33 minutes? What's Masonic shit show? What does that even mean, mate? You're a carnivore with a lion under a tree. Bro, that if you've been watching for 33 minutes, you a fan, boy. Samaki need to go train with Peter Fury. Does anyone got a weird feeling about Azim Claggett? I don't have action on it yet. I don't have action on it yet. God bless you too, Dwayne. Appreciate you. Grew up dancing, baby. Grew up dancing. We grew up dancing. Can't wait to join the Discord. Jeb, I sent you the link, bro. Jeb, email Chris. Are you Chris? Jab Cross 97? Join the link. This is my order number. Chris Robot. Cameron LeBoot. Hey, son. Are you Cameron? Let me know who you are, and I'll send you the link. Bro, Kiki got it back here. Yeah, bro. Y'all cat. Here's another one in our. Here's another meme that was. Dude, I love our chat. You guys make me feel young. Because we don't know how old everyone is, right? Y'all, you guys just know I'm old. I'm probably one of the oldest in there. This one's hilarious. Shout out to They Love Eddie. This is called the Frank Sanchez pack up. That's crazy work, boy. Bob Arum behind the register. Frank Sanchez packing Kiki Torres up with the OE 40 ounce, though. With that, with the OE 40 ounce, dude. That shit is hilarious. And blunts. If you look even closer to this, you even see the blunt wraps. That's insane. Y'all cats is wild. That jab slows down. Any Usyk memes? I haven't seen any Usyk memes. Kiki getting knocked out looked like yeah, it was bad, man. They get they get up. Well, see this is where it's hard for me to kind of like laugh because this is where I don't laugh, and this is where my job is as a teacher and a coach is to explain what's happening. And Rex, you know boxing. I see you in other boxing channels, and having good valid points. But maybe the average person doesn't understand when you get knocked. When Kiki Torres gets dropped like that with one punch, and he's here, that's his brain shutting off. You could tell. We saw that happen to him in the amateurs. You could tell this has happened to him in sparring. Our body has a protective mechanism in us. It's the brain saying, "Hey, mate, that's a lot of trauma for one day. We're just going to shut you down so you don't have any more trauma." That's the brain. That's not a conscious decision. That's the body. So when you get knocked out, the brain shuts off. Boom. Right? It's a form of self-preservation when you think about it, right? When you see Kiki trying to get up, that's his consciousness and his heart. That's his spirit. He's still trying. It's like when Buster Douglas knocked out Tyson. Tyson's brain shuts off, and you still see him trying to find his mouthpiece, trying to get up. Dude, that shit gets me. I got goosebumps thinking about it. That's the spirit of our sport. So always kind of be a little bit cautious when you're making fun of guys who are choosing to be boxers in front of the whole world, half dressed. What are the analytics of this? You're getting into a ring in front of the entire world, half naked, right? Against another guy who is trying to knock you out, and 99.99% of the time, historically, it ends badly, whether in the ring or out of the ring. So when you see a guy who gets knocked out and he's wobbling, that's his spirit and his heart, but his body's not listening. And those legs are jelly. It's his body not listening, but his mind and his heart is there. It's a freaking brutal sport, guys. My money was cooked and I was laughing to tears. Jeez, I definitely wasn't laughing. You were laughing? Crazy, man. You're a savage, bro. Dude, I don't know if I've ever laughed when somebody got knocked out. Maybe it's because I never got knocked out. But when I was 15 in an amateur fight, the fight got stopped. That's when my parents made me stop fighting. But I've knocked guys out before cold. But I'm even guy like I'm not a guy in a fight to knock you out and hurt you. So maybe it's in our. I'm not a. I've never been one. If when I was younger, if we get into a fight, it's always one on one. I'm breaking up fights. If I knock a guy down, I'm not hitting him when he's down. So that's how I operate. We're all different though. Everyone's been through their own shit. Whatever your story is, that's your story. I'm not judging you for that. But to think that if somebody gets knocked out, I'm laughing, that's crazy work. You're a savage, Rex. I don't know if I can honestly say I have never laughed when somebody got knocked out. That's just maybe because on a karmic responsibility, I would not want somebody laughing if I got knocked out. That's just the way I look at it. You got to take them supplements, rest and repair. Let's go. Yeah, this is where brain damage comes in when the head bounces off of the canvas. And this is why I had a friend when I was 18, he was 17. We were at this place in Youngstown. It was a golf dome. So it's closed now. But I grew up in Youngstown, Ohio, and there's like, during the day you could rent and go hit, you could hit golf balls. It was a massive dome. And at night, it was a bar. And so massive parking lot. I'm 18, he's 17. We're there partying in Youngstown. Everyone had fake IDs. I don't think I wasn't drinking. He though, it was at that day and age where you go out, hang out with the older guys, but we're just trying to like probably pick up chicks. He gets into a fight in the parking lot, and he was a boxer, and he knocks two dudes out, and one of the dudes hits their head on the blacktop and died, and he went to jail for 5 years. And he seemed to kind of overcome that because he's a coach now and runs his own gym, but for the longest time, it messed his whole life up. So that going down. And that's why the ring is canvas like that. But even with the canvas, that's how you get brain damage. Because it's just, dead weight with your head hitting. Can I order LG TV from Australia? I have an LG if you want it. You want an LG TV? I have one I don't use. I just bought the new Sony 72-inch Brevia. Shout out to the chat. I got this in November. I never realized I'm not a material guy. I'm not a material guy. A friend of mine bought a brand new 72-inch Sony, and like a month later he was moving. He got a job offer internationally and he couldn't take it. So he made me an offer amazingly cheap. I got it for like I'm in debt to him basically because he gave me cheap. The TV I had before that was like a 48-inch LG, which I loved. I thought that the 48-inch LG to me was like, this shit is dope, right? I didn't realize how different it is when you go from a 48-inch to a 72-inch. Now I'm like, holy shit, it's such a big difference. But I do have an LG I don't use. Are you in Australia? I'll ship it to you. Guys, wherever you are in the world, mad love. Let's put the basketball game on. Let's see where we're at. I got a little parlay. We got a big week ahead. Let's check the odds real quick. So, boys, these are the odds that we are getting. Share this tab instead. All right, so right now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Wow, I'm already getting 20 fights. We have a big, big, big weekend ahead, boys. A big weekend. If you guys aren't familiar with Magomed Kurbanov, Kurbanov is the guy that Israel Madrimov beat. Kurbanov has some game to him. So this Kurbanov-Tong Lee fight, Robesi's back. Robesi retired. I am always sketchy, though, when a guy retires and comes back. You know, Robesi, those 2 fights against Rafa Espinoza, you know, that first fight was going all right until it went all wrong. And then we know he gets stopped, I think, in the 7th in the second one. MJ's back. MJ, you guys should know who MJ is. Up on our list, MJ, you know, he kind of didn't show up against Naoya Inoue. I was a big MJ fan until he fought Inoue just to survive. I was like, come on, man, at least go out on your, like, fight this guy. You have an opportunity to fight anyway. Fight this dude. And he uses the entire ring and loses a wide points decision. That's MJ. Charlie Edwards versus Rico. I got to do my homework. I'm not going to say I'm super excited about the fight, considering Charlie Edwards, domestic Brit. He was at a fringe level once. But there's a lot of other fights on my radar. Cota versus Harrison. Let me show you the Lorena fight. Look, I'm not sold on Fran Hennessy. I know she's marketable. She's young. She has the last name. She looks the part. I'm not sold on her. I'm not saying I think she's on upset alert. Aurora DiPercio, I have to check her out a little bit more. I think she's a Mexican fighter. I think at this stage of Fran Hennessy's career, she should always be on upset alert. She's young. She's kind of like the matchmaking. They're relying on favorable matchmaking, but we've seen it time and time again in the UK with these British girls going in as favorites and losing. So that's not my underdog of the week. I do have an eye on it. I mean, why not? I'm gonna look at her opponent. Fran Hennessy has not looked good to me lately. Roman Fries. This is the Adam Azim Claggett fight. That plus 600 is so disrespectful. That is absolutely insane. Claggett is a plus 600 against Azim. That is crazy. This Desley Robinson fight. Mary Spencer is probably live here. Mary Spencer plus 145. I got to do more work. I know both fighters. I've seen both fighters fight. I want to see how healthy they are. So if you guys are taping Desley Robinson to Mary Spencer, we got to dig a little bit deeper and see if they're, you know, I think there were some injuries either with some shoulders or knees recently on both sides of the game. So I got to check that out, check their camps. But those odds are favorable to get something action. We got the other Omari Jones. Omari with an O and not an A against Alan Sanchez. This is the fight. So off jump, I think Juarez is a plus 350. Juarez is the champion here. Yacasti Valle, in my opinion, is just not that. She's not that. She should never be a 3-1 favorite. So she hasn't looked good, in my opinion, as of late. I'm not saying I'm jumping on this, but this is 100% on my radar as an upset of the week. Is Juarez to keep her belt against Valle. Do your homework. Let me know what you think. Guys, you know we'll reconvene tomorrow. I do live streams every single day. I'm just giving you a little heads up where my head is We've been on for 55 minutes. Could you just do me a favor and like this video? Let me know where you're tapping in from. If you haven't joined our Discord, do it. If you guys have joined on YouTube and you don't have the Discord link, email me, johnnystofko@icloud.com. Tell me what your YouTube name is. You should be in the Discord. My bad for you not being in there. The reason why I don't publicly put that link in the chat anymore is because we have trolls. we have trolls. Even we have guys who pay for the Discord who are trolls, by the way. So I've been kicking out 2 to 3 guys routinely. This is crazy. I've been kicking out the same 3 to 4 guys over the last 3 months, and they keep signing up on YouTube and emailing me, but they don't realize that the email is the same. I'm like, bro, this is I know who you are. You got kicked out for being racist 3 months ago. I'm not letting you back in. Okay, let's get back to this. Amanda Serrano's fighting. Wow, she's 20-1 favorite. Sweet. Charlie Sheehy versus Jarrett Quiros. I mean, I'm going to take a look at it. I'm going to take a look at Jarrett being live. You know, we're going to at least look at it. I like Shock there to 63, and I like Stephanie Hahn. Guys, I gave you 2 tickets already. You guys should have a plus money double paying plus 118. And then I have a prop of the week already paying plus 120. So that's that. I'm going to get caught up with the comments, and then we'll get out of here. I'd love one. Elf in the house. Yeah, Rex. The way I bet basketball as an entertainment sort of thing, because I grew up playing, I still play. I played my whole life. You know, I come from the era where I could go to the park without a basketball by myself and play all day. I had a basketball court in my backyard, and you know, it's just always been one of my favorite sports. So I don't bet on basketball the way I bet on boxing. The way I bet on boxing is to make money. The way I bet on basketball is I do like prop plays. I'll maybe hit 2 or 3 a year that pay like plus 4,000, but I'm not betting full units. You know, so right now it's just different. You know what I'm saying? So it's no stress betting, entertainment wise. If you have the bankroll to just, if it's one of your favorite sports, and if anything, I only bet during the playoffs. I guess I'm a casual. I don't watch during the season. I'm a Cavs fan. We suck. I hate being a Cleveland sports fan. But anyway, that's a rant. All right, so my props today, it's in the set. I took Steph Castle to score 15. He's at 5. I took Vassell to score 10. He's at 6. I took Vassell to have 5 rebounds. He's already hit 4. Chet Holmgren to score 10. He scored 6. Julian Champagny to score 10. He scored 2. I need him to hit some threes. Hartenstein to get 8 rebounds. He's had 5. This is actually looking freaking live right now, boys. Shea SGA to have 6 assists. He has 5. Wembanyama to get 4 blocks. He has 2. This pays plus 3,300. So I just need Champagny to pick it up and hit 2 threes. So that's that. Yeah, I feel you. I feel you. History, MJ, but history vault. You know what you're talking about. We have an educated chat. How many? I put energy into MJ though. You know what I mean? Like for a couple years, I talked about him. We knew about him. We knew about his amateur pedigree. We knew about the camp in America, and all the people coming out of his camp were telling us the fight pundits that this guy is this guy's legit. This guy is real. And then all right, mate, you fought yourself to get the anyway fight, and you don't fight him. Fuck out of here, dude. Like that. I was just bummed out. What are the main things you want to see Kiki work on while he works his way back up? The things I want to see him work on, A, we have to see if he really wants to be at heavyweight, so his size and his weight. B, feints. Use your jab, lead hand feints, foot feints. That's definitely a must. C, set your power shots up behind your lead hand. Don't just slip in on your opponent's power side. Have a little bit more of a fight IQ. You're a southpaw guy. You're fighting a big puncher. You're telling me you're going to slip into his backhand. So boxing footwork 101, what I teach. If it's orthodox versus orthodox, and you know that my power size my backhand, and I'm fighting you and your power size your backhand, we are doing our fight camp. I'm circling away from your power side, right? We'll play the hands up game here. You know, if I want to sit on something, I'm going to walk you into something. So I'm going to circle away from your right side. I'm not going to circle left into your power side. So if I'm Kiki Torres and I'm a southpaw and I'm fighting Unk, who's an orthodox fighter, and I know his backhand, his right hand's his backhand, his power side, but that's on my lead side. I am circling away from his right side. So I'm going to be in camp here, jabbing, using my lead foot, which is the southpaw, would be my right foot, to exit away. And then if I want to catch him coming in, I'll weave back and then throw my hook. I'm definitely not going blindly into his backside by slipping forward into an uppercut. Definitely not doing that. This is awesome. Is it? Yeah, this is usually my normal lifetime. All right, guys, I'm going to lock it up, boys. Salute, Johnny. Raymond 4 is great. Let's go. Oh, Raymond, King of Sun. Raymond 4 is a great month. You think 4? I don't know, man. I just think that Shock Foster's skill set. I think Raymond 4 is live. We talked about it. I just rate Shock Foster as a boxer. I think his overall skill set is going to be too much. I give Raymond 4 the speed advantage, but I think everything else is Shock. Top Dog Toya, we up. Boss Christo, 70 home by knockout. Hey, man, whatever makes us money, boss. I usually only play Gabby by knockout. I got too cocky last weekend. Look, I got to check my ego too, boys. I talk about it all the time. You know, sometimes we become victims of our own success. So you know, we want to find angles. We want to be above the curve. So sometimes you take risks as a bettor. You got to take risks. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes they don't pay off. Foot feint setup shots. There it is. Yep, Toya knows how to box. Yeah, I agree. We all thought MJ could at least do something. MJ was talking crap as well, and this things. Yeah, it just bummed me out, man. LaFleur, what's your? All right, are you LeBoot? LaFleur, are you Cameron? LaFleur 97. Let me know if your name is Cameron. I apologize too, guys, because a lot of your emails are going to my junk folder. Chris. What's up, Chris? Nah, Christopher. Okay, there's Cameron. I see you. All right, Chris. Check your email, buddy. I'm going to stop Claggett. Top Dog, 2 months. You've been with me for 2 months. We have an 8-week relationship, Top Dog. We got an 8-week relationship. Let's go. Chris, check your email. Do you know anything about Bryce Mills, dude, that Vargas is fighting? I'll check it out. All right, guys, stay up. I'll see you guys tomorrow. You guys are the best.